but it seems these storms came through. Did they hurt our chances, or are we still? We need to be on guard for the second round.
That's a great question. Essentially, you know what Carrie mentioned that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up, the warmth that has moved in. It really is a creepy thing when that happens. This is a warm front that just moved through, and what it did, it destabilized our atmosphere. So we've now seeing the storms ride along that warm front. Everywhere to the south has warmed up quite a bit. We've gotten into the 70s across much of the upstate. So we're seeing now a heavy downpour in northern Oconee County. This is not tornadic, and you can see that the tornado warning has moved out of Union County and moved out of Chester and now crossing over I-77. But get a closer look, we have a flash flood warning for Rabun County, Georgia, because of the fact that we've seen so much heavy rainfall. Heavy downpours north of Walhalla. This cell will bear watching. We were keeping an eye on any rotation. Don't see any at this point, but we're going to continue to watch it as it pushes off toward the north and east. So we'll be seeing another round of heavy rain for Pickens, for Table Rock State Park, these areas that were rocked by that storm that came through and that quickly spun up that tornado warning around 2:30 this afternoon. So we'll be watching this one. This one's moving around Long Creek, Lake Jocassee, but is not considered a tornado threat at this point. We will let you know if that changes. And then we've just got a whole mess of rain here. We've still got an active tornado warning that's north of Atlanta, but it was extended as a severe thunderstorm warning. That's a good sign that it's weakening just a bit. And then we also have this line that goes all the way down through Alabama and down into the southern part of Alabama, an active tornado warning there. They had a tornado that potentially moved through downtown Birmingham earlier. Bob, were you mentioning that you had a report to share?
There's a possible report of possible tornado damage. Now, this is 3 miles southeast of Hickory Tavern in Lawrence County. A train spotter saw trees down with varied directions of fall. Okay, so that's usually typical of something rotating when we have that kind of a situation. That was the 1800 block of Wilsontown Road.
And you mentioned Hickory Tavern was one of the areas
near Hickory Tavern in Lawrence County.
All right, so that was in portions, in northern Lawrence County, where we may have seen some damage.
And just so our newsroom can get that, again, what was the address? Because I know we have a crew headed to Lawrence.
That was the 1800 block of Wilsontown Road.
Okay, Wilsontown Road for the newsroom for our crews heading there.
Lawrence really hit hard with these storms. And again, the worst of that weather has shifted out. The storm that likely produced that damage and what could be tornado damage is now well away from our area, moving through Chester County. And now our focus is going to start to turn off to the west with this area that's going to be moving in from the west out of Alabama and Georgia. This was actually going to be the primary severe weather threat with the system. But what happened was we had a warm front move through, tapped into some serious wind energy. We got a little bit unstable, and boom, we just had several tornado warnings happen all at once. So at least that threat is slowly calming down. We're still going to watch this cell, though. One up in Henderson County, one in northern Oconee County, and then continue to watch these as they move in from North Georgia. So certainly a serious situation tonight. Storms will be ongoing really through around midnight to 3 a.m. This is speeding up, though. I don't expect the threat to last into the morning commute as we once thought it could. Upper 50s for you in the mountains with rain and storms likely as we move into the overnight. Now tomorrow we'll have a shower in the morning, but then look at that, 80 degrees late in the day. But you don't have to worry about storms late tomorrow. Most of the rain moves out. It's just going to be a very spring feeling day. Low 70s, very, very warm across the mountains with partly cloudy skies. So I want to show you FUTURECAST. It did a good job. It's initializing well. This is one of our extended range, high resolution models. And you can see as we go through the rest of the night, more storms start to line up. Here's 7 p.m. See, we get a little bit of a lull in the upstate, but as of 7 p.m., this is when more storms will start to get going. And then they'll push in and potentially be on top of the mountains into the late night hours. But by the time we get to 1 a.m., this is when the line's finally going to start to push into the upstate. So we're talking late night. Potential for another round of severe storms. But the good news is as the night wears on, it is going to be a significantly lower threat than what we dealt with this afternoon. It's always the afternoon hours that are going to bring the best chance for severe weather, and that's what we certainly saw. The line will weaken toward Friday morning, and then we'll be in the clear as we go through the rest of Friday. In fact, it looks pretty good for Friday afternoon into the evening, but Saturday and Sunday could pose another, at least rain threat. Not a huge severe threat, but something we're going to watch for Sunday. But of course, that's down the line. We will focus on that as we get closer. But here's the overall threat, and it's interesting. Storm Prediction Center is certainly not perfect, and if they had anticipated that we were going to see what we saw, we would have gotten put in a much higher risk than a marginal risk. We're still considered in that marginal risk because that's where we are in relation to this line. The line that's moving through Alabama is going to weaken and probably not do a whole lot for us. But it was that initial round of storms that we saw that just was not anticipated by the Storm Prediction Center. And that's why we were not included in a higher level risk. I know that's a little confusing, but essentially this is a risk for the rest of the night. And it looks like we're still in the low end risk because as these storms move out of Tennessee and into Georgia and portions of South Carolina and our Georgia counties, they should be a lot weaker. So happy to report that. This is just a closer look at our threat levels, and really it will be highest as it moves into the mountains and into eastern sections of the upstate. As we get into the 85 corridor starts to go down, that's basically as the mountains kind of tear up the storms, but also as we lose that energy from the day, the storms will be arriving at a very unfavorable time for severe weather, luckily. And then by tomorrow, the severe threat is going to shift off to the east, and it's a low-end threat. But again, as you know, you never want to underestimate a low-end threat for severe weather. We're probably going to use this as an example all storm season long as a reason that we always need to have our guard up with these kinds of storms. A quick look at the extended, then we're going to go back to radar, but I did want to show you that on Saturday, we're expecting more rain to move in. This is going to be so another surge of moisture. Shouldn't cause us a whole lot of grief. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of severe weather on Saturday, but a line of storms is expected to get going on Sunday and move through during the late afternoon into the evening. That could bring a couple of severe storms late Sunday, and of course we'll be on top of it if we do get anything like that. So next 7 days, a quick look at that, and then we'll go back to radar, but notice that we have a slight chance of rain Friday, and then storm threats will be back on Saturday and Sunday. So again, this is just the beginning of storm season. Let's not get storm fatigue. That is for sure. But a quick look at the radar before I pitch it back over to Cody. Still watching. Oh, look at this too. They've downgraded the tornado warning to a severe thunderstorm warning, which is good. And we're also watching this storm that has not had any signs of tornadic activity so far, but could cause some gusty winds. We'll do a fresh storm track on it as it moves into Rocky Bottom, 9 times Pickens over the next 15 minutes.
Have a hail report as well, from Carlisle. Report hail of 1 inch in diameter, so that's not surprising with that huge hail core that we saw in that storm. Also, trees and power lines down.